Waco Warriors are proudly brought to you by Henshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa, the Packwood Locker, Smithburg Auto, Fairfield, Iowa, and the Cedar Rapids Titans Arena football game that you can see on Round Guy Radio starting February 14th or 15th. I mean, all the home games they got the weekend after the Super Bowl. Anyway, we got Coach Roth of the Waco Warriors. Welcome to the program, Coach.
Did.
Well, it's been a little while since we caught up with you, although I think we did a fair job of getting some Waco games on. We got one tomorrow night in Sigourney, we'll talk about here in a little bit, but it's been I probably talked to you once since Christmas, I think. Can you catch me up a little bit on how things are going?
Yeah, so we've kind of been up and down here after break has started. We started off with a game against Columbus. I think it was January 2nd. And played pretty well, got a win there. And then we had a Saturday game against Winfield at our place, and they ended up beating us. It was a competitive game throughout, and they pulled it out at the end. And then a couple more competitive games. We played North Lynn, good team from North Central Iowa, and then played New London again that Saturday and had a tough loss against them. And they played really well. Give them credit. I think they were 0-9 or 0-10 at the time, but they were a much better team than that record showed. They had played a lot of quality opponents, and we knew we were going to have to play well to win, and they came out and played a lot better than us that Saturday. So that was a tough loss, and that was kind of started a 3-game losing streak for us, which wasn't the best, and I think it was partly our fault. Our competitive nature on defense and just to start games really hurt us. We put ourselves behind the 8 ball a lot. That North Lynn game, we were down 19-0 at the end of the first quarter. So we can't expect to win many games if that's how we start. We responded well in that game. We had it tied at 41, but in the end, we just couldn't pull it out. So, we've had a lot of competitive games here over break or after break. And these last two, we played L&M last Thursday and Lone Tree last night. Played well, scored over 70 points. So started to figure out a little bit more about how to put the ball in the basket, and where to pick and choose where we're shooting the ball from and where to attack. And we've done a really good job of that the last few games. And hopefully it'll carry over here in the next couple.
You got a big win against Lone Tree. They're very improved. It seems like to me, when you score, when you have high outputs of scoring, you win, which sounds kind of normal, but sometimes it just seems like some nights you shoot really great and other nights you can't buy a bucket. Yeah. And I think that's a little bit of the nature of basketball. Have you had any problem with injuries or the flu or any stuff like that?
We did kind of go through a little bit of sickness there right after break. Nothing to where it really put us out of missing practices or missing games, but you could tell some of the kids were a little sluggish. I know just the whole district of Waco has been kind of going through an influenza, and I think that's about everywhere. But
yeah, I think every team and coach has about had it.
Yeah. So I don't think we really haven't had it where we're missing kids, but it is kind of affected us a little bit. So I think the biggest part of the games that we lost and maybe some that we weren't as competitive in, our Achilles heel has been rebounding. We struggle to rebound the ball, and we let teams get second chance, baskets. That really hurts us. That really hurt us against New London and North Lynn for sure.
Well, the North Lynn game, let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah, you got way behind, but you caught all the way back up into that game. Scotty Melvin he was either at that game or watching that game, and he was texting me up a storm about the way you came back. Talk a little bit about maybe, some of the momentum you may have got. You may not have got the win there, but you certainly did get something going in the second half of that game for sure.
Yeah, we played the 3 quarters really well. And our first quarter, it wasn't terrible. I mean, that's, probably hard to understand when you're down 19-0, but we got some really good shots. We just didn't make any. And we didn't really understand what type of tempo they would play at. Us coaches and watching film, we told the kids, hey, they're going to play very fast. They're going to be up and down the floor. And we just weren't ready for it. And they got us, the first couple minutes in transition. They got a couple baskets, and like I said, the rebounding was a big issue. They like to shoot threes, and a lot of those long rebounds we were not there to get. And they had a lot of second chance baskets, and that's what hurt us at the end of the game. We really buckled down defensively in the second and third quarter and started making some of those shots and started pushing the ball up and down the floor ourselves and getting some easy baskets that way. And yeah, we had it tied at 41. So being down 19-0 after one and being tied at 41, that was a pretty incredible comeback, and was really proud of the kids. And as coaches, we got together and talked about how much that game really helped us, and that game really taught us how to play hard. Watching them, how they only played, I think, 6, 7, maybe 7 kids, and watching how hard they played and how fast they got up and down the court really helped us, and we wanted to, that's kind of how we want to play. So we think it taught our kids really how to play even harder.
Well, you won 2 or 3 here in a row. Take me through these wins and let me know who was leading the score, or maybe getting some rebounds, or who was doing the things that they had to do to get you those wins.
Yeah, we've had 2 wins in a row now. We played L&M last Thursday, and then we played Lone Tree last night. Holden Hughes has been leading us in scoring in those last couple games. Pretty sure he had 25 and 12 against L&M, and then last night he had 29 and 10 with 7 blocks. So he stepped up really big last night. I know they really struggled to keep him off the boards. He had quite a few offensive rebounds and putbacks. That's kind of what got his game going last night. And yeah, he's been huge for us last couple games. He really struggled against Pekin. I didn't throw that game in there, but we lost to Pekin. We only scored 35 points. So we've been really telling our kids, we had 28 shots that game. And then the next game against L&M, really encourage the kids to, find their shot and be aggressive and be confident. And we shot the ball 80 times. So that turnaround has really helped us. Now we got to figure out the difference between a good shot and a bad shot. And last night we did a better job of that. And another guy would be Kellen Shellman. I think he had 18 last night. Really has improved his defense after break. He's been very handsy, getting in people's passing lanes and making it tough for them to dribble the ball up the court. And then that's opened up his offensive game. He's gotten a few steals, gotten some runouts that way, and then him hitting his three-point shot really opens up his driving lane to the basket, and he did a really good job last couple games of attacking and going up strong and getting to the free throw line and scoring that way. So those two stand out scoring-wise. Everybody's been contributing. We've had a lot of kids off the bench. I think we had 9 guys score against L&M. So, we had 9 in the scorebook, which is awesome. It's great depth, and that helps our team out a lot when, say, we get in foul trouble or something like that.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about this matchup you got with Sigourney tomorrow night. We're going to be there for the JV game for sure. They've got kind of a deal with Thunder Country, a little bit of an exclusive there for their varsity sports. So I don't always get a chance to do the varsity sports, but you'll probably be in that little gym that I really think is one of the coolest places to see a basketball game. And JV and varsity both are very, very good. Have you had a chance to look at the Sigourney Savages? I know they got a big win last night against Colfax Mingo. They have a fairly impressive record. They only had 2 or 3 losses, I think, this year. What about this game? And this seems like just a great matchup for just for Round Guy Radio listeners.
Yeah, they're going to be a very good opponent. Mitch has had them playing very well the last few years for sure. And it seems like it's been pretty much the same group of kids. They have a lot of experience. They've had a really good middle school, junior high, and then now their freshman and sophomore groups are really good. We've played them over the summer a lot, and I think that group has played a lot of basketball, and it's starting to show with their JV and then their varsity. They have a lot of kids that are playing for them. So they're going to be tough defensively, and then they're going to be, solid on offense. They got some shooters that can spread the floor and a few guys that can get to the rim. And then they also got some bigger guys who hit the boards really hard and rebound. So they're a pretty good all-around team. we've scouted them a little bit, obviously, but we're really familiar with them. Like I say, we've seen them over the summer, and we see them once a year, so we kind of know what to expect. And yeah, I think we'll be ready for them.
Okay. Well, it'll be. Do you know what time that JV game is?
The game will start at 6.
6 o'clock. Okay. Is it in a little gym then?
Yep.
Oh, that's gonna be nice. I really like that place. It takes me back to the 1970s when I was a kid watching basketball and stuff. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us. Congratulations on getting a couple nice little wins. And can you or is there anything you want to talk about that we can get a chance to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Dave.